have to fly over a giant ocean to be able to meet him. And then after that, we're going to talk to Mike Watson, also very talented gentleman who I cannot believe I have never, touched base with before. I was just looking at all the things that he does. You guys stick around, share and like, let everybody know what's going on today so they can show up. And we're going to see you right after these words. Everybody, thank you for being here today. Do remember this is a completely interactive interview. So if you're out there, please just throw down some comments. You're welcome to ask questions that you think of. Don't worry if it seems like you put it up there and I haven't seen it. I will get around to it if it's all possible. Everybody, please welcome Simon Burks.
Hello.
Hello.
You okay?
It's so funny. Your background is the very opposite of mine. Mine's like real busy.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah. Well, yeah. I'll try and make it, brighter, but just by being here.
It's actually fine because if anyone that's watching is like me, you get very distracted by everything in the background. You're like trying to figure out what collectible they have on their shelf.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Any other part of the house, and yes, you would see that.
Yeah. So here where I am broadcasting from in Houston, Texas, it is incredibly hot. What would be summers for us like in Scotland? Is it nice?
Well, 19 or 20, something like that, degrees C, as it would be here. Sometimes it gets up to like 21, 22. And sometimes literally, for a couple of hours, one day it'll get hotter than that, but so it's pretty good. And nice thing is generally it stays light for quite late into the evening up here. So but not this late now, but it's a lovely place to be. So
I really want to visit. My husband for a little while was doing management consulting, and he got to spend lots of time in Scotland. I was super jealous.
No, it is lovely. You can tell probably from my accent that I'm not from Scotland. I'm from England, in fact, the south coast of England. But yes, we moved up 2018-ish, and never looked back really.
Okay, so if you're from the UK, then we can have this discussion. I've got lots of friends from that neck of the woods, and my understanding is that like we take sunny days completely for granted where we are, and my friends that have moved to America that they don't understand why we're not outside every second of every day, because in the UK, if you have a sunny day, everyone just doesn't go to work because they're like the one chance to be outside when it's not gross.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Obviously, with things the way they are, it's getting a little bit better or worse depending on your viewpoint, I guess. It is. They are seem to be having sort of longer spells of holidays, but yes, certainly more often than not, sort of Marielle and I will talk about, wouldn't it be nice to live somewhere warmer in the nicest way? We have friends in Florida that we're very jealous when we go over there, and we spend like a couple of weeks in like December, and you think, this is like almost going to come into summer weather for us. So but there you go.
Were you born in the UK?
It's just born down in Sussex in the UK, near Brighton. I think is probably the best way of describing it. A lot of probably people know where Brighton, or at least heard of Brighton. So I'm very lucky, and live there. Lived there and around there most of my life until we moved up. I worked in IT. I don't now, but I was working in IT, and I just happened to have my next contract was in Scotland, in Glasgow. So I just went up there, and it's been really good.
I see from your background that you've got so many talents: screenwriting and writing for game books and comic writing, and it's a lot. Is it something that you always wanted to do, or is it something that you just had the skill for and you just fell
Yeah,
into.
yeah, it's a passion. Writing is a passion. I can't not write. It's that thing. If I'm sitting there, and yeah, I, the idea of some people understandably enjoy golf or something like that, but I can't imagine walking around a golf course because I would know I would be thinking, oh, I should be writing now. It's that sort of thing. It's this thing in the back of my mind. Should be writing now. So yes, I've written ever since I was about 11. Well, I've written, obviously I could write before then, but I've written creative stuff ever since before I was 11. And sort of I was at school, and there was this poetry contest, and I didn't think I was any good, didn't really think anything of it. Wrote a poem, and yeah, was in like the top tier, shall we say, and never looked back after that. Really, just I couldn't believe it that they and something that I'd written was good, so I went with it, and here I am. So yeah.
So how was it recognized? So at 11, you wrote the poem, and then was it
Yeah.
just like a teacher said it was good, or did it go?
Yeah, it was a school. I think it was a school-wide competition, possibly a year, like that year-wide competition. And yeah, you just had. I think everybody in the year had to write a poem. I wrote one. Melancholy, hopeful may come up quite a few times. That's kind of my writing go-to. And yeah, and I wrote this, and I was one of the people who had to go and pick up the results for our class. So from the headmaster, because he was the one grading it. So I went down and I picked it up, and obviously being a kid and whatever, 11 years old,
Yeah.
I looked in the folder on the way up, because why wouldn't you? It was sort of split into different, I guess, levels or tiers, and I was in the top tier with my poem. And it was literally a life-changing moment, I think, just seeing that. So yeah, yeah, it's amazing how those small things or things you wouldn't think of can blow things open wide.
Was it something your parents had a passion for, and you followed along, or is it just something that was unique to you?
That's a good question. My dad didn't, but I suspect my mum has, but not embraced it. I think in the way that it's my life, it's what I do. So, I went through the normal sort of phases, angst-ridden poetry when I was a teen, and then really moved on and wrote some like short plays, and then some short stories, and then and as I got older, I just tried different things. We put on some plays. I do a little bit of acting, bless me, and put on some plays that I did, like one act or three act plays, and I've written films and acted with my wife. So that's good fun too. I mean, it's just I have one of those, I think, just attitudes where if I see something, I think, okay, yes, I understand how that works. Maybe I can do that, and then I'll give it a go. Obviously, if I have funding, and then so it's been really good. I've written a whole host of things, novels as well. I've got write a few novels, and game books, as you mentioned. I mean, game books was my passion when I was like 12 when the Fighting Fantasy series came out. I don't know how big it was in the US, but it's very big in the UK, and I fell in love with it there. Really, I was quite a loner back then. Probably still am, but I was back then, and so even though I like things like D&D, or the idea of D&D, I didn't really have any friends who were playing it or anything like that. So the idea of having the solo game books where I could sit there and play was fantastic. So yeah, and then fast forward 36 years or whatever it was, and I'd started loads of them, but I'd never worked out a technique to actually finish them. So I was great at starting them. But then I had some time off from work, i.e. I didn't have a contract, and then and I was able to. I'm quite a visual guy anyway. I know that about my writing. I visualize things quite a lot, but I realized that if I actually mapped it out physically using map tiles and things like that, then it really worked. So then I wrote my first game book, say probably 4 years ago, and just and thoroughly enjoyed it. And of course, set out to write a 400 paragraph or 400 section book, and then wrote a 700 section book. And you think, because why do things by halves? Yeah, so there you go. But yeah, I love game books. I have a Substack called A Branching Narrative, which I publish choose your own adventure type mini adventures on there as well. So it's just
what kind of genre for your Substack? Because it looked really cool.
Yeah, so the a branching narrative Substack. I seem to have three on the go, but it's the short of adventures. I think I'm just trying to think because I've collected three of them, and I'm going to go to Kickstarter with in one book those three. I think we've got a spaceship. We've got like storming a fantasy tower, and like an escape room or escape tomb, as they call it. It's actually set in a tomb, so yeah, an escape tomb. There you go. So those three, so they're a bit different. Again, I guess I would say I don't write to a specific genre, and just whatever the story happens to be, or whatever triggers that idea, I'll just run with it. So certainly, when it comes to comics as well, you'll see that there's a lot of different types of comics I've written over the past few years.
So for some of our viewers that may have heard the term Substack but may not know how it works, how if someone wanted to join your Substack, what does it look like for them? What do they get to enjoy?
So when you first go on it, it's like it's a newsletter with a dashboard where you can see all the posts and stuff like that. So they sort of make like a little kind of web, like a newspaper template sort of thing that you see sometimes on sites. So with all the old posts. So yeah, you go on there, you sign up with your email as per normal, and then you can just I think both the Blue Fox one, we'll come on to Blue Fox I guess in a minute, and the branching narrative one. You have a paid tier, so most people are free, but we have a paid tier, and the paid tier get like the longer adventures for the branching narrative. So yeah, you go on there. I'm also running because I haven't got enough to do. I'm also running so every 2 weeks like an online adventure, which is for everyone on the branching narrative. So yeah, so you get on there. I think we're on like this decision. No, we're on about week 4, week 5 now. But basically, it's a book, and I'm writing it slowly, basically, and people go on there, and I give them to see. Obviously, you have the blurb. They have to decide whatever decisions there are, and then we take it from there. So that happens every 2 weeks, but I polled the people on the newsletter, and they seem to want it every week. So we'll see. After San Diego, I might be able to do it every week. We'll see. But up there. But it's lots of fun, and it's really interesting. Obviously, up till now, I've written a book. I put the book out there, and then I don't really know until someone says, "Oh yeah, I really liked it," or "What about how did you think about this?" You don't get that feedback. But doing it this way, you actually see what people are choosing week on, every week. So it's fascinating, and. I sit there and think, what can I make them choose this week? Sort of thing. Yeah, the power is mine. but it's a lot of fun.
Saying you're leading people along a little bit, huh?
Yeah. This is obviously, this is how. I don't know what words would be. Yes, this is how I'm trying. I'm trying it out on Gamebook people, but next the world sort of thing. Who knows? But.
No, it's a lot of fun. For everybody that's on, we've got a link there in the comments for you guys if you wanted to check out the Substack. I would say it's a really good way to know exactly what's going on with the creator, because they're going to definitely put what they're into there, even if it's not like if you're only following someone for comic books, then you'll know all the other things they're doing. In this case, it looks like you get to do gaming with Simon. Yeah. Why would you not want to do that?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's also another one on there called Simon's Weird World of Writing. I don't know why I called it that. I can't even say it. But that has some poetry on it, some short stories, that sort of thing. So I just put that out there as well on there, just because I've got it sitting there, so I'd like to put it out. So yeah. So that one.
Do you have a favorite time and place to write? Are you like first thing in the morning, middle of the night person?
I think I don't particularly mind when. Where I love cafes. I'm a cafe sort of person, really. Equally, when I was doing the IT role, if I had a commute, that would be great. That'd be a great time to do it, because sort of sitting on a train carriage. Sitting on a train carriage is kind of kind of similar to the cafe, but without the coffee. But you just got people milling around. Sometimes they know each other and they talk and stuff like that. So you can eavesdrop a little bit, but there's just general hubbub without you being directly involved. So, so I enjoy writing on things like trains and also cafes really is my thing. But I don't really mind. If it's just getting the time, and again, running Blue Fox Comics, which is a publishing house that I co-run with my wife, because that takes up a lot of admin-y type time, so the actual creative time, I'm sure I say, Jen, the creative time, is very precious, so grabbing it when I can.
Now, under the Blue Fox label, is it just your and your wife's work that appears there, or do you have other creators that are part of the group?
It started off just my work. I had a lot of short film scripts sitting on a hard drive, gathering dust, doing nothing, and I knew it would take a lot of money to produce them, having produced them before, and there's the amount of time it takes to put into getting any sort of return, financial return, really, on those would be quite difficult. So really, it's a case of what I decided to do was turn those into comic scripts. So that's kind of what we did back in 2014. I had this idea about turning the short film scripts into comic scripts, obviously changing it, and it's not a direct thing or anything like that, and it's really learning that trade. And so, that's what we did. Now I'm at a point where I've forgotten what the question was, because that happens quite a lot as well, because I just talk.
If there's other people that are under your banner.
Oh, thank you. Yes. So initially it was my stuff, but then as we carried on going, as I found artists to draw my work, they also had some of their own work that they wanted, and so one of our artists, a chap called Lyndon White, who's actually letterer on Antarctica, so he had a couple of books that he was looking for a publisher, and so and I hadn't really thought about it. It literally, Blue Fox was just there to publish my wife's and I work, but then Lyndon said, would you mind doing this, and that kind of opened my eyes a little bit. I thought, that's great, and doing that is actually surprisingly fulfilling, I have to say, publishing other people's stories. So and so yes, people send. We got on bluefoxcomics.com. We've got a submissions page down the bottom. We only accept completed work, so that's something to bear in mind. There's also a couple of other stipulations there, but yes, so we do that, and so now we do publish other people, and it's lovely. That's all I can say. There you go. It's really nice.
Oh, I love it. All right, we're going to get to the book that's actually going to be in everyone's LCSs on Wednesday. This, I just knew from the title even that I knew I was going to like it, just because, I don't know. There can't be anything that's too hearts and rainbows about any book that's written that has a name like Antarctica, because that place is kind of like the proving ground for anybody that really wants to go there.
It's like space, isn't it? Everything wants to kill you there, really. It's just one of those things.
So I still say to myself, why does anyone want to go there except for to get away from everyone?
There is that.
So I read the first issue. I loved it. I like the way that you have a little pitch for it. It was, what did you say? What was the two things? It was like this and that.
Yes. It's like, good question. Stargate meets his Dark Materials. There you go. And and it is really in certain ways, but it's just fun. I mean, I remember putting it together, just putting the idea together, and I think I can see. I can't really say why, but it's just the idea, as ideas do, it happened, and obviously I am a fan of I'm a nerd, so I'm a fan of The Thing. So that's obviously a step. Mm-hmm. Frozen Wasteland. So it's that sort of thing as well. So I enjoy it. Things when I'm watching films or TV, I especially like episodes or films which are set in one place. So like plays, really. So I love those, like Phone Booth or something like that. Something which is set in one place. I'll just sit there and I love it. I just all the way. So really, I guess Antarctica in a way gives you that sort of, yeah. Although you do see other places, but you're kind of locked in there. You know, they're not going to be, okay, I'm just going to run over here and everything's going to be okay. I'm just going to use my mobile phone and everything's going to be okay. So, yeah. So
the thing that honestly, the thing I thought I was going to like about the book the most, the location, is not the reason I really like the book. It's I am a sucker for broken characters, and I think that all writers know that when they're writing. But you took what could have been just like, we're just going to throw you into the main plot, and you can come along and like this character or dislike this character at some point. But you wrote this perfect lead into this. It's like 3/4 of the book where you really are heartbroken for this main character. Like, she is a very unique person, and she's not one of those people who are like, oh, I identify with him at all. Because can't imagine anyone having this exact same life circumstances. But yeah, she's such a richly written character. Is that your focus usually? It's the people.
Again, one of the things that when we write down things like Blue Fox, what is our customer, or what are our stories? You know, what's the main thing? And they are character-driven stories. So this is me taking everything that I've learned from doing our independent comics, and developing those, and I'm bringing it to a Top Cow book, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Yes, you're right. Initially, it was a 6-page anthology. A 6-page story in the Stairway anthology for Top Cow, and actually that was just the last 6 pages that you see in the comic where Hannah gets to Antarctica. But even that one has the mention of Jim. I think at the time I wrote that, I didn't know who Jim was. I just knew Jim was important. So when they said, yes, we'd like you to do the arc, develop the whole story. Yeah, I just loved it. So really, I guess what you're saying there, the first bit before we get to Antarctica is the new stuff that I wrote for issue 1. Again, sort of melancholy, hopeful, slightly heartbreaky, but here's somebody who's just got to fight, and I do. I was speaking with Marielle about it yesterday, and I think I get tears in my eyes even thinking about it now. So it's really important because that's who I am, and that's what I wanted to bring to an image book. I wanted to bring heart, and one of the things again I think I saw on your website or on your Instagram, swan songs, number 1 of that. See that I love that. See that kind of does make me feel something, and that's what I'm going for. Yeah, and if it probably is breaking your heart as well, is what I'm going to be going for. So I can only apologise. I'd like to say it gets easier.
No, I just want to be decimated by the end of any book I read. I don't know what that says about me, but
yeah. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed writing it, and it was a very interesting process with Woody Roberts, who does the art on it. He's also done a lot of our Blue Fox books as well. So it's lovely to bring Woody and Lyndon on onto this book and let them have their first name on the Top Cow image book. So that was really nice to be able to do that. That's what I've always wanted to do.
So thrilled to see that issue 3 has got Alison Sampson art on it, because she's my girl.
Yeah, I ran a Comic-Con in Chichester in Sussex, and Alison was one of our guests, and that was the first one I'd ever run, because I thought, oh yeah, I've been to a Comic-Con, I probably could run one of those stupidly, and then but it went very well, and Alison was there, and she was fantastic. Yeah, she was fantastic. Both obviously on the day, and she was on panels as well. So yeah, she always always make a point of going to see Alison, or Alison will come over and say hi to me. So yes, to be able to do that as well was lovely. Yeah.
Okay, so all right, so people can, if they're going to San Diego Comic-Con, you will be at the Top Cow booth Do you know how much we are you
I've yeah, sorry.
this is just
Sorry, you're breaking up, and I don't know whether it's me or I don't know whether it's you. Okay. Okay, that's okay. I will be at the Top Cow booth definitely from 6 till 9 on the Wednesday. So the preview night. So I'm there then, and I will be there other times. They've not come back to me and let me know what they are. But when they do, you can. I will post it. I've also got again. Esperk's writer. If you find me on there, you can generally find me in different places under that. I'll be posting my times, and Top Cow will obviously be as well. So yeah, there'll be multiple times where I'll be sitting there, happily signing away, not believing my luck.
You have a variant cover, yes, for the show?
Yes, Abigail Harding has done just a beautiful cover, very very atmospheric. And yeah, it's just I'm so lucky that Top Cow to say I mean we've asked Abigail to do that. I think I just couldn't ask for more. And it's just lovely. And they are bringing their A game to all the covers that we have, and just over the moon really. Yeah.
And for the series itself, is it a series of 4, a series of 6?
It's 5 issues.
Okay.
Does it end on a cliffhanger? I can't say. So yeah, at the moment I've got to convince. I guess I've got to ask nicely, and we've got to see whether the book does the numbers, and I really hope it does. So obviously, if anyone's watching and you're on the edge, go and get it and see what you think, and because I've actually written 4.5 issues of the next arc. No one's asked me to, but I just sat there and thought, oh yeah, I've got an idea. So yeah, oops.
Well, I mean, it's certainly, as you as a publisher would say, you want to see finished work before you can say yes to something. It probably makes it much easier for them to say yes if you say, if you like that, I got it all written. It's done.
Yeah, it's really cool, and the next one's really cool too. Anyway, yeah, so we'll see. I hope so. I'll see what they say. I think it's done. I think it's done okay sales wise. So I don't know. It's all about the 2s and 3s and 4s, isn't it? And how well it keeps going. So
I'll try to go goose it some today by telling everyone they've got it added to their pull boxes. So
yeah, absolutely. Just auto add it. It'll be fine. They will never know. They won't remember.
That's right. It's like, I'm sorry, you must read this book, because I can't imagine a world in which someone would hand this back to me and say, oh, it's not my jam, because it's like everyone's jam. It's really good.
Thank you. Yeah, it's mysterious. There's just a whole ton of stuff in there, and there's a whole ton of stuff coming, and I think it will appeal to a lot of people.
I'm super excited to see everyone's reaction to it. In just a couple of days, I hope you get lots of good feedback, because I know you're saying that sometimes it feels like you live in a vacuum in that regard, but hopefully people will connect with you and let you know.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, we had some great reviews so far, so that's really nice.
Love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate getting to talk to you, and I will be seeing you at San Diego, because I'm going to be there. So
brilliant.
I'll be bebopping by and grab up my copy too.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Thank you again so much for joining us here. Everyone stick around. We've got more stuff going on. Make sure to go to your LCS and add Antarctica to your pull list. Thanks so much. Thanks, Simon.
Thank you. Bye.
Did you know that every experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out. Twitch.tv/the_EXP. Or just scan that QR code.
Comic Collectibles is a pretty straightforward show. You got Rex here, he sells the comics, and you got Rockin' Robbie, he knows about the comics. And finally, John, well, no one really knows what John does. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great guy, but he just keeps showing up. Come to think of it, I don't even really know how he gets in here. Anyway, awesome comics, rare books, rarer signatures, slabbed books, and amazing cover sketches by Ken Hazer and others. Simple formula. You want the comics? You buy the comics. To sum up, Rex sells the comics, Robbie knows the comics, and John who might possibly be a ghost. I mean, seriously, has anyone ever seen him show up or leave? Comic Collectibles with Rex and John, Mondays from 6 to 8 Eastern on The Experience. Comic Culture and Sales.
Everybody, and welcome back to Talkin Shop. I'm excited about my next guest because I want to get down into the nitty gritty about, I don't know, it's been a long time since I've got to play a card game, and this one sounds pretty awesome. Everyone, welcome Mike Watson. Oh,
Legally not Mike Watson.
what in the world? You don't look anything like him.
Right.
It's not
true.
gonna work.
Mike is not here yet.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll
So
hang out.
I don't. Right. I sent him a text.
Sweet. It's probably a time zone thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. Man, Antarctica sounded really good.
It is really, I mean, I'm not often a person to read a book and be like, I'm so excited. I have issue 2 and 3 sitting in my inbox. It's going to be so hard not to read them because it is very cliffhangery, and it does take a hard left turn into awesomeness. It was already awesome. If it just was the book that was at the first 2/3 of it, I would have been completely fine. But no, it got all kinds of, like all the awesomeness of, did you ever read the Steve Lieber series Whiteout? Happens in Antarctica. It's a female FBI agent that's assigned there, and there's a murder.
I don't remember it.
Ugh, so good. Very
That doesn't mean I didn't read it, but I don't remember it.
It would have come out probably 96 or 7.
I would have been busy being 10 or 11.
I know, you're such a baby.
So
So I was just looking to see what you were going to be arguing about later. Why you got to go there?
Tonight's topic is going to get some people big mad at me.
Someone's going to yell at you. Good artist gone bad, and you have full on your description of bad things, the giant-chested, lie-filled Captain America.
You mean the Captain America whose chest would have caved in on itself because the human bones aren't meant to sustain that kind of weight and muscle mass?
Go find it on the internet. There's somebody that actually found that, a person that's actually built that way.
Yeah, and that guy probably can't breathe when it's humid out.
Probably not. And probably can't bend over and touch his toes.
But no, we're talking about why bad artists are popular. And
be careful about who you point out then.
Well, here's the thing. For us, it's kind of like the Razzies, right?
Sure.
We expect more from you. Artists who we know are great. But every once in a while, man, they lay an egg. Like one of the examples there is Frank Miller's Wolverine. Frank Miller, great artist. We expect a lot from Frank Miller. That Wolverine looks like something my 2.5-year-old nephew would have drawn. Like, why do great artists sometimes lay an egg?
I kind of wonder a little bit, like the Miller style that we're used to. We love that black and white, and that when we don't get it, do we just rebel in our brain? Is it still acceptable art, but because it's not that art, we hate it? No. Come on now, I'm hearts and rainbow in it.
No, that there's certainly room for that, and certainly like the first time, for instance, I saw Tony Moore do something that wasn't The Walking Dead. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, this is different than what I'm accustomed to, so it's not what I love. But no, there are times where good artists, for whatever reason, just can't can't nail it. They don't have whatever in them to do it. And so I'll show you what I mean when I talk about the Frank Miller Wolverine one. And we'll have to see if we agree. And I know Miss Jen is positive sunshine and rainbows here.
Yes, I am.
But my gosh.
Give me 2 seconds. Oh. It reminds me a little bit of, like, remember the Dark Knight 3 series that they had the little middle ash can in the middle? There was some of the art that was like that.
Right. It's not good.
I'm going to go plug in my computer just half a second. Sorry. It's unplugged from the wall, weirdly.
No, that's the conversation tonight on Devil's Advocates, is why do sometimes good artists have bad work?
All right, are you going to address, like, sometimes the art style of an artist is ill-served on the title that they put it on? Like, for me,
yes,
when they put Tradmore on Ninjak, I was like, it's so disparate from its normal art style. As to, like, I don't even know how I could have made myself like it. Not because I didn't like them or their art style, but I just couldn't handle it for Ninjak.
Well, one of them for me is not Mirka Andolfo. I'm sorry, Peach Momoko.
Okay.
Sometimes you get a Peach Momoko cover one week that's gorgeous, and the next week it's like, did you not erase? What happened here? And then the next week is gorgeous, and the next week is like this thing that, like, did you spill the watercolor tray on top of the line art? Like, what is happening?
I just feel like that wonderful, talented soul got hot real fast, and then they just threw, like, every title at them, and I just can't imagine having enough time in your life to do a good job on that much stuff.
Correct. And that's the point of the conversation, is why are bad artists so popular? Well, bad artists aren't necessarily bad artists. They're just artists who are having a bad day.
It's true.
Or this project didn't really suit their style. Or it was the 90s and, Rob Liefeld was trying to draw more muscles so that he didn't have to draw feet. Like, it's that conversation, right? As to why are these things the way they are? Not necessarily calling out artists who have done bad work, but it's, did you mean to do that? Doesn't seem like something you mean to.
Never done bad work, though. Are there people that have never done bad work, though, that they just never hit? They never, but like an Alex Ross or a Mark Brooks. Like, I don't know that I've ever seen a bad piece of art from them.
Well, and that's the other side of that coin, right? One of the people who, for me, is in that camp of, I don't know that I've ever been disappointed in their work is, I just blanked on his name.
Gosh,
he did
old like me.
No, and I just had it for a second. He did.
Kyle's keeping us in suspense.
I know. He's just going to hold on to that one word. I think he froze himself so we could actually go and look it up. Wow, he's really frozen. That's crazy. I would like to try to read his mind to see what he's actually thinking of. Perfection artist. Who else would he? Okay, I don't think I've ever seen Allison Sampson do a bad piece of art. How's that? I'm hoping that Kyle didn't go through some kind of, like, the solar winds didn't catch him, or I watched. Oh, I can talk about crazy stuff I did this week. I actually finally got to watch the 65, the Adam Driver dinosaur film. I actually really liked it. My husband was like, So I guess that's another one of those. It was very character driven. And so I liked it a lot. as a character-driven. Well, of course, I always feel like Adam's got so much acting chops. I'm kind of sad that the first thing I saw him as was Kylo Ren, because that didn't really give him the range that he needed. Then you watch Klansman and you're okay. See him really do it. I think Kyle broke.
Yeah,
right,
it's not even in the green room.
Oh, that's crazy. That's why I'm saying I hope that there wasn't like a sunspot that took him out or. Anyway, just in case Mike Watson doesn't get to come, Mike Watson seems like an awesome human being and he's got a lot of comic book stuff under his belt. I don't know how I have never come across them. He has a ton of shows that he does. He's got an art design background. He collects toys and does YouTube videos about collecting toys and gets together with his other creative pals and talks about really cool stuff. But the thing we were going to talk about was his cool crowdfunded game called Epic 21, which is kind of like blackjack based, but it is the characters from the comic book company's Epic characters that they have. And I always thought that was really creative when someone said, okay, how can I take the characters we created and the universe that I've got going on and have it be something people will interact with even more and fall in love with. So I thought that was a cool idea. So I hope we get to talk to him about it. Oh my goodness. So, okay. So today, otherwise, definitely tune in to watch Kyle try to burn down the universe with his topic, Good Artists Gone Bad, which we were just talking about a little bit earlier. And that's under the moniker of Devil's Advocates, which I think is a great creative name. And then you got Comics and Collectibles with my good friend Rex. And I think this is also Rockin' Robbie. And they look like they've got some really cool stuff up for you guys today. I was going to look and see what the pictures were of. Oh, it's a ton of stuff. Some Captain America covers. Howard the Duck. There is a Punisher #1 from, I think that's the miniseries. They have some Spidey and Avengers. Black Canary book. You've got a bunch of really, and I'm telling you, if you've never shown up, oh, and there's some good autographs on them too. The Amazing Spider-Man's got an Otley autograph. There's an Avengers 168, 195, a 200. Oh, and that king size annual #10. Everyone wants. That is cool. I was going to see if there are any awesome autographs on this stuff, because sometimes they have got some killer autographs. Oh, here you go. We were just talking about DK3 that's got the insert that's inside of it. They have an autographed, looks like the autograph is as
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.